Do you like your work? Honestly, I don't really like it. My boss is aggressive all the time and my colleagues are not really friendly. Sometimes I have to burn the midnight oil to finish my work, which makes me so stressed. So I think I will change my job very soon. Why did you choose to work in this field? I chose this major because I want to be a businessman. I'm learning the ropes in business and hopefully I will be a successful entrepreneur in the future. Will you continue in this job in the future? Of course. I will definitely keep my job as a customer service staff. Working at this position, I have to put my thinking cap on and think out of the box all the time to deal with customers' problems, and that's what I like the most about this job. What will you do after your studies? Well, that racks my brain when thinking about my future career. I think I will try to graduate with flying colors so that I can apply to work as an English teacher. I love English and I'm keen on working with students. It brings me so much fun and boosts my creativity. What kind of housing, accommodation are you living in? I live in an apartment in Tan Binh district. I chose this apartment because it's quite close to my workplace, just about 15 minutes riding a bike. I live under a roof with another friend. Which is your favorite room in your house? I like my bedroom the most. I often read books, play music, work and do whatever I want in my bedroom. I often change the bed sheets once per week to make my bedroom always look interesting and new. What do you like about living there? I like the atmosphere of my living place. It's in the suburbs, so there are not many vehicles and factories here. There are also many trees which bring me fresh air and a comfortable feeling. Would you like to move to another house in the future? Yes, I do. I'd like to move to somewhere which is bigger and closer to city center. Besides, I'm saving money to buy my very first house. You know, it's not easy to get a foot on the housing ladder these days.
Topic 1. Home, Accommodation 1. What kind of housing, accommodation do you live in? I live in a tiny apartment on Yen Lang Street 6 days a week. Every Sunday I go back to my parents' house on the outskirts of Hanoi, too. Who do you live with? I live with one of my co-workers, who is also my college friend. We share the rent and other expenses like electricity and water, so it's not really expensive. 3. How long have you lived there? I've been living here since 2016. So it's 2 years more or less, although I did spend 6 months living in HCM City. I thought about moving somewhere else, but living here is pretty great and fun. Besides, it's really close to my office. 4. What's the difference between where you are living now and where you have lived in the past? There are quite a few differences. My parents' house is huge with separate rooms, each of which has its own bathroom, so it's really convenient and private. However, my apartment right now is much smaller and I have to share a bathroom with my roommate. 5. Do you plan to live there for a long time? That was never my plan. 2 years ago I decided to rent a room here because my house was too far and it took me forever to get to my office. But I only stay here for maybe 1 or 2 years more before I can afford a house of my own. 6. Which room does your family spend most of the time in? Probably the kitchen, where we eat together. Unlike other families in town, we don't watch TV very often. At least I don't watch TV, so we never sit together in the living room. Dinner is the only time of day that we all sit together and enjoy our meals. 7. Are the public transport facilities to your home very good? Not even slightly. The bus stations are always crowded with people who are really inappropriate and always talking out loud. The floors are so dirty that I don't even want to step inside a station. 8. Do you prefer living in a house or a flat? Each type has some things to offer me, but I would have to go for a house. There's usually more space, and the water supply is much more reliable. 9. What part of your home do you like the most? My room. It's big to begin with. There's a bookshelf attached to the wall, which is my favorite spot for reading. And you know what's best? The bathroom. I have my own bathroom in my own room. Topic 2, Study 1. Describe your education. I had my first 5 years at a local primary school on the outskirts of Hanoi. Then I was sent to a school in the center of the city, which was very far from my house. I went to college to get my degree in environmental science a few years ago, too. What is your area of specialization? I'm now a freshman at the University of Hanoi, studying environmental engineering. My parents tried to persuade me into pursuing teacher education at first, but I decided not to. 3. Why did you choose to study that major? I've always been into environmental issues, and it's my dream to receive the Nobel Prize in this field. Studying this major is a stepping stone to fulfilling my ambition. 4. Do you like your major? Absolutely yes. I get to study what I like, and I know that I can apply my knowledge into helping the environment. Studying has never felt so good. 5. What kind of school did you go to as a child? I didn't go to school when I was small. I was homeschooled by my mother. My parents were not financially adequate to afford my study. 6. What was your favorite subject as a child? Math. Definitely math. I loved it when I could solve a difficult equation, much like an achievement to myself. 7. Do you think your country has an effective education system? I don't think so. Looking at the astonishing dropout rate in Vietnam, you can partly tell how challenging and frustrating studying in Vietnam can be. We are in desperate need for change. 8. Are you looking forward to working? Not really. To graduate and get a job means that I'll be under great financial pressure, since I cannot rely on my parents' support anymore. To be honest, I don't think I can even graduate, let alone finding a job. Topic 3, Work 1. What do you do? I now work as a scientist at the National Laboratory. I used to be a professor in the University of Hanoi, but I changed my profession 5 years ago, too. What are your responsibilities? I'm responsible for discovering and analyzing new chemicals. My job can be demanding and frustrating at times, but it is really rewarding. My work can save lives of thousands. 3. Why did you choose to do that type of work, or that job? Even though working on new elements can be pretty dangerous, I just cannot quit my job. I have always been interested in science and chemistry ever since I was a child, so doing this job is really pleasing. 4. Are there some other kinds of work you would rather do? Not really. But if I have to choose, I would go back to my former job, being a professor. Even though I didn't earn much from being a professor, knowing that my lessons can help students achieve their goals is priceless. 5. Describe the company or organization you work for. I now work for the National Laboratory, which is located in the city center, just about a mile from my house. My lab is on the 6th floor of the building. 6. Do you enjoy your work? Most of the time, yes, I do enjoy my work. When I first came here, I didn't like it much. I felt like I couldn't fit in, but now that I'm used to my work, things are much easier. 7. What do you like about your job? I like my job a lot. knowing that the result of my research can save lives. If I and my colleagues succeed, we'll find a cure for brain cancer. 8. What do you dislike about your job? I don't like the environment. To be frank, I like my coworkers, but our safety is never ensured. Even though there are regulations, you never know what can happen in a lab. 9. Do you miss being a student? No, I don't. I didn't have great memories with schools and teachers. I'm glad that I graduated and got to do the kind of work I like. Topic 4. Newspapers and magazines. 1. Do you often read newspapers? I do. I usually read news after I get home in the evening. I used to buy printed newspapers, but now I have a habit of reading online newspapers since it's much more convenient. 2. Do you prefer to read local news or international news? I don't really favor one over another. I will read whatever I'm interested in, regardless of whether they are local or international. 3. Which is more popular where you live, newspapers or magazines? It depends. People around my parents' age tend to prefer newspapers, while magazines seem to be more appealing to the young. 4. Do many people today read newspapers? I don't know, really. I think people who need to get updated of the latest news or trend will have to read newspapers a lot. 5. In the future, do you think more people than today will read magazines, or fewer people? I myself don't think I'll read magazines much in the future since newspapers are much more convenient. 6. Do you think newspapers will be very important to you in the future? Definitely. I always want to be informed of events around me, so I'll have to rely on newspapers for information. Topic 5. Birds. 1. How do you feel about birds? I think they are adorable, but their singing can be annoying at times. I know people who are absolutely obsessed with birds. My uncle is an example. Listening to birds singing is his hobby since it makes him feel relaxed too. How do Vietnamese people feel about birds? It depends. To some people, birds are like dear pets, but to others birds are more like food. 3. Are there many birds near your home? Birds near my house? I don't think so. I live in an apartment. It's on the 9th floor of a building in the city center. I rarely see birds around. 4. Have you seen many different kinds of birds? Like I said before, I rarely see birds. My uncle took me on several bird-watching trips, but I never grew fond of them. I don't know much about birds, and I don't think I'll ever bother to find out more about them. Topic 6. Email. 1. Do you like to write a letter or email? I do. I have relatives and friends who live far away, so I cannot have face-to-face conversations with those people. Letters and emails help me keep in touch with them. 2. Do you think emails are useful? Absolutely. Instead of having to go meet people in person to get things done, I can just simply send emails. Things have been much easier since the advent of emails. 3. What sorts of letters or emails do you think are the most difficult to write? The formal ones, I think, like CV and the alike. Since there is a long list of regulations that you have to follow, not to mention the differences between cultures. What you write may be acceptable in a country but can be considered rude in another. 4. Do you prefer to write letters or emails? Why, definitely emails. Writing a letter can be very expensive and time-consuming. You'll have to wait about 2 weeks for your letter to reach your friend, and another 2 weeks to receive her reply. Just thinking about it is frustrating enough. 5. Do you think email might one day replace handwritten letters? I do think so, yes. Emails will replace handwritten letters someday. As I said before, writing letters can be really annoying, while writing an email is much more convenient. Topic 7. Parks and trees. Parks 1. Do you like going to parks and/or public gardens? I do. Having a walk in the park can be relaxing at times. As much as I want to, I never have time to go to parks, too. When was the last time you went to a park? I'm not quite sure. Almost a year, I think. My brother usually exercised with his friends there. I was reluctant, but he forced me since I always stayed indoor. 3. Do you think the parks and the gardens where you live could be improved in any way? Yes. I think parks now are not as appealing to people as they used to be. Park managers should really consider working on some new attractions like a playground for children, I think. 4. Would you like to see more parks and gardens in your hometown? Of course, I never had a chance to go to many parks and the environment is always polluted. I really hope the younger generations will be more fortunate. 5. Do you prefer to relax with your friends in a park or an indoor space? I'll have to choose indoor space much as I like parks. Hanging out with friends in a park means that we'll have to rely on the weather, while in a building, weather wouldn't be a problem anymore. Topic 8. Trees. 1. Do you like trees? I do. Planting trees is my habit and I always go to the park whenever I have free time. 2. Do you like to go to the forest or a forest? Much as I like trees, I don't really enjoy going to the forest. Walking in the forest can be scary since I'm terrified of insects. 3. Is there a forest near your hometown? No, my hometown is close to a beach actually. I prefer the sea to forests, so I'm happy with that. 4. Would you like to live in a place that has lots of trees? To be frank, though I like trees, I'm not that fascinated about being surrounded by trees all the time. I despise insects, so I don't think I could survive there. 5. Where can one find trees or forests in your country? You can find trees almost everywhere. Parks are an option, or you can visit the old streets in Hanoi to find old trees. Topic 9. Text messages. 1. Do you text someone if he doesn't answer your phone? Sometimes. It depends on the situation. If I really need him to call me back immediately, I'll leave him a message asking him to do so. But most of the time, I just wait for him to call me back. 2. Is there any occasion when texting someone is better than calling him? Maybe he is in the middle of something important, like a meeting, and you know it, it's better to just send a message. Calling him in such occasions is inappropriate and he can get annoyed and angry. 3. Have you ever had difficulty replying? No, I haven't. I'm using an iPhone, which is very user-friendly and I can send my message really fast. 4. How often do you send text messages? All the time. I personally don't prefer calling people because sometimes when they cannot answer my call, it will be very rude. Instead, I always send a message, or if I want to talk to someone, I'll text him first before making the call. Topic 10. Patience. 1. What do you think patience is? Well, patience is a quality that means you are able to spend a lot of time doing something difficult, even if it means you have to do it over and over again. 2. Do you think patience is important? Yes, absolutely. If you want to be successful, patience is the #1 factor. For example, when teaching children, you really need to be patient in order to teach them because they are usually very energetic and not willing to listen easily. 3. Do you think being patient is an important part of being polite? Yes, being polite means that you avoid hurting someone else's feelings. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience to have a conversation with a person who is talkative. If you are not patient, you can end up being rude and offending the other person. 4. Would you say you are a patient person? I'm a teacher, and being patient is part of what I do every day. So yeah, I can say with confidence that I am a patient person. 5. Have you ever lost your patience? There have been a few times when my students were too naughty and didn't do their homework. One time, I just lost it and gave the whole class detention. Topic 11, Daily Routine 1. What is the busiest part of the day for you? It's the evening. All of my English classes are in the evening, 7 days a week. In the morning and the afternoon, I just spend my time relaxing by going to the gym or playing computer games. 2. What part of your day do you like best? Probably the morning. I do exercise regularly in my room when the sun rises. And sometimes I go to the gym. What's best about the morning is coffee time. I just love it because coffee keeps me active all day long. 3. Do you usually have the same routine every day? Pretty much, yeah, although there's a slight change on Sunday. I usually wake up really late on Sunday and I don't have any coffee either. I just want to spend my weekend in my warm bed. 4. What is your daily routine? I'm an early riser, so I wake up at around 6 o'clock, then I have a cup of coffee 30 minutes after that before I go to the gym. I stay at home for pretty much the whole afternoon and I teach English classes in the evening. 5. Have you ever changed your routine? I haven't found any reasons to do so. Maybe in the future I will. Because honestly I don't like working for 7 evenings straight. 6. Do you think it is important to have a daily routine? It's not something that a person can't live without, I think. It's important to me, but it doesn't mean that everyone should follow a routine every day. It's fun to have changes once in a while. 7. What would you like to change in your day-to-day routine? Well, if I can, I want to cancel 1 or 2 classes in the evening because I really could use some nights to go around the city. Working 7 days a week is not a great idea. Topic 12, Films 1. Do you like to watch films? I really do, but I wish I have more time for it. I've been very busy recently due to my job, so I only have time for 1 or 2 new movies each month. 2. Do you prefer foreign films or Vietnamese films? I enjoy both of them as long as they convey meaningful messages. But if I have to choose between those two, I will probably go with foreign films. Especially Hollywood films because most of them are well acted, with lots of celebrities and good effects. 3. How often do you go to a cinema to watch a movie? Not very often actually. I used to go there at least once a month, but now I have lots of things to worry about, so I rather focus on my work and just choose a movie to watch at home. 4. Do Vietnamese people like to go to a cinema to watch a film? It's kind of hard to say, but I think the young generation enjoys it more. People around my parents' age tend to stay at home and watch TV. 5. What kinds of movies do you like best? As for me, I like sci-fi movies the best because they usually have fascinating storylines and a lot of thrilling action scenes. Also, because I study in the science field, so I always find this kind of films interesting. 6. What was the first film that you watched? Titanic was the first movie that I saw in the cinema. It has been quite a while, but the movie was so good that I can remember all the details until now. Topic 13, Mathematics 1. When did you start learning math? Math is an official subject for Vietnamese students since 1st grade, so I have studied math for at least 16 years. 2. Do you like math? Math is actually not my strongest suit. I prefer chemistry and biology. In fact, In high school I was in the National Biology Olympic team, but all science subjects involve using math, so it still plays a crucial part in my study. 3. Who's your favorite teacher so far? I was very lucky to have a lot of experienced and supportive teachers in my life, so it's really hard for me to say who is my favorite. I am grateful to all of them. Each of them had certain influence on different stages of my life. 4. Is math difficult for you to learn? It certainly is, but I enjoy the challenging nature of math, even though it's hard. Studying math will benefit you in many ways. 5. Do you like to use a calculator? Calculators are indeed one of the greatest inventions of humankind, in my opinion. It has helped me a lot when dealing with complex equations and advanced mathematic problems. Topic 14. Social Network 1. What kinds of social networking websites do you like to use? I believe the most common and also the most famous one that young people like to use nowadays is Facebook. I, myself, use Facebook every day as a means of communication with my friends and updating news. 2. Are you a social person? I see myself as an extrovert. I really enjoy making new friends and taking part in social activities. 3. What kinds of people do you like to be friends with on those websites? I rarely accept strangers' friend requests, to be honest. I prefer getting to know someone in person, rather than making friends based on what they display on the internet. 4. Is it easy to find real friends on a social networking website? I personally don't think so. There are a lot of people with different purposes on the internet. You can't always be sure if they have good intention with you or not. 5. What kinds of chatting app or software do Vietnamese people like to use? There are plenty of them, but I guess Zalo and Skype are the most common among all. It's very easy to use and very convenient. Even old people can get used to them quickly. Topic 15. Museums 1. Are there many museums in your country? There are. Museums in Vietnam are quite diverse, and they cover almost every field, namely the War Remnants Museum, the Fine Art Museum, and plenty more. However, museums are not so appealing to the young, which is unfortunate. They could have been much more educational, too. Do you think museums are useful for visitors? I don't think so, I'm afraid. Museums are more like tourist attraction, because if tourists wish to search for information on a place, the internet would be a much better option. 3. Do you often visit museum? I don't. I wish I do, but I never have the time. My parents took me to Vietnam Museum of Ethnology every Lunar New Year festival so that I have better understanding of Vietnamese's culture. My memories of that place are truly invaluable. 4. Did you go to any museums when you were a child? I did, very often actually. As I said before, the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology was my childhood. If my memory serves me well, it was 2007 spring when I first visited the place. I still remember vividly how amazed I was stepping into the museum. 5. When was the last time you visited a museum? Ever since I graduated and worked as a researcher, I've never had a chance to visit any museum much as I wish to. What a pity. 6. Do you think museums are important? Absolutely. Museums are where knowledge and culture are preserved. Apparently, museums are of paramount importance and play an irreplaceable role in our educational system. Topic 16. Time Management 1. How do you organize your time? As we all know, time is gold and no one can rewind the clock, so being able to manage time effectively is my top priority. In order to get things done and work efficiently, I carry a schedule notebook with me and update on tasks I have to work on every week. 2. Do you think people organize time in the same way? I can't tell. I mean, I'm used to writing my schedule down, kind of old-fashioned. My friends, however, install an app to control their time and their spending as well. I've never tried one. To be honest, I'm not that good with technology, so I don't think I'll ever bother to install one in the future. 3. Do you think it is important to be on time? 100%. Being punctual is like a must. Like a foundation for mutual trust. Arriving late, in any circumstances, can be disrespectful to your partner. 4. How do you feel when you are late for an appointment? Frankly speaking, I feel ashamed. Before, when I was younger, I wasn't that serious about being punctual. Now that I'm older, fully aware of my responsibilities, the weight of my very actions, I rarely make such mistakes anymore. 5. How do you feel when others are late? Well, it depends. If a person is involved in an unprecedented or unavoidable event, then it's understandable. However, if a person is late purely because he or she is careless, then it's hard to ignore. Topic 17, Weather 1. What's the weather like today? I'm not quite sure since I have been indoor the entire day. But I guess it's raining. I checked the weather forecast yesterday and it said so, too. What's the weather like in your hometown? My country, Vietnam, has tropical climate. It explains a lot why Ho Chi Minh is boiling hot all year round and where I live, Hanoi, is only slightly chilly in the winter. 3. What's your favorite season? Autumn is my absolute favorite. Just the right amount of rain, neither too hot nor too cold, perfect for outdoor activities. I can fall in love with the season, seriously, exactly that kind of weather when there is sunshine but you can still put on a hoodie. 4. Do you like snow? I don't know. I have never seen snow my entire life to actually know whether I'll like it or not actually. My friends in England told me snow isn't that fascinating to watch, but I guess I still want to try once. 5. Do you watch the weather forecasts? I don't watch the weather forecast on a daily basis, but my mother does. She always keeps me updated and tells me when to bring an umbrella. 6. Does the weather ever affect what you do? Most of the time, really. I'm easily affected by the weather. Even when I have tons of work to do, I tend to procrastinate. I get in bed, my favorite place, and sleep my day away whenever it rains cats and dogs. Topic 18, Noises 1. Do you mind noises? Absolutely yes. I like my space and am likely to be distracted whenever there is noise. It feels like my personal space is being disrupted when I hear noises and it drives me crazy, too. What types of noise do you come across in your daily life? The noises of vehicles whenever I sit in usual traffic jams are those that I usually come across, and unfortunately are the most unpleasing ones to hear. I can barely keep my sanity with those noises. 3. Are there any sounds that you like? I'm not sure. I mean, if music is counted, then yes, I do like music. Listening to soothing melodies can be healing at times, especially when I'm under great pressure. 4. Where can you hear loud noise? On the street, mainly. Maybe from my neighbor who turns up his speaker at midnight once in a fortnight as well. 5. Do you think there's too much noise in modern society? Absolutely. I can still hear the noise of a truck horning while I'm on the 6th floor of a building. I think it is high time people considered noise pollution a real problem that needs to be solved. 6. Are cities becoming noisier? Well, yes. As our society grows crowded and more advanced, more people than ever before can afford their personal vehicles, which contributes much to noise pollution nowadays. To be honest, Actions to alleviate this problem should be taken as soon as possible. Topic 19, Hats 1. Do you like to wear hats? Not really, I'm not that fascinated about hats or hat fashion. I do like helmet though, since I have to wear it almost every day. 2. What kinds of hats do you have? As I said before, I have helmets, lots of them since I have to constantly buy new ones. I always forget my previous helmets at home. So yes, I have numerous kinds of helmet, including full-face helmets and half-face helmets. 3. Where do you like to buy hats? I rarely buy hats. My sister, on the contrary, is obsessed with hat fashion. Therefore, once in a while, whenever I need to buy a new hat, she would take me to her favorite hat shop downtown. 4. Is wearing hats popular in your country? I'm not quite sure, actually. If helmet is counted, then of course whoever rides a motorbike needs one. But other types of hats like beanie or boater, I think, are not that famous to people. Topic 20, Bags 1. Do you like bags? As someone who is really keen on fashion, bag is a necessary accessory to me. I am particularly interested in bags, so I purchase many different bags to match my outfits. 2. What types of bags do you like? Besides backpacks to use for school, I have a lot of pretty handbags and clutch bags. To me, handbags might be the most useful one since it can be easily carried around and still have enough space for my necessities. 3. Do you usually carry a bag? Absolutely. I need to carry a lot of stuff when going out, so bags are a crucial item. But above all, carrying a bag always makes me feel fashionable. 4. What do you put in these bags? Well, of course there will be my cell phone and money. Also, any girl would have lipsticks and other cosmetic products such as perfume or eyeliner. I sometimes carry an extra charger in case my phone runs out of battery. 5. What sorts of bags do women like to buy? As I had mentioned before, pretty bags like clutch bags or handbags are women's favorite choice since they are usually beautiful and useful at the same time. Topic 21, News 1. Are you very interested in the news? Yes, I am, but I am only interested in news about science and health because I'm not a fan of politics. Besides, news about science and health are both fun and useful, too. Why do you want to know the latest news? To be well informed, I guess. I don't want to be someone who doesn't know anything that is happening around the world. And news about science and health is really awesome with new discoveries and facts, which is a great way to relax. 3. How important is it to you to get the news every day? Well, it's hard to say because it's not the same for everyone. I myself have to read the news every single day because it's fun and relaxing, but it's not something that I can't live without. Some other people even don't bother reading the news at all. 4. What sorts of news are you most interested in? As I said before, I'm into news about science and health. I love reading about new inventions, discoveries about the universe. News about health is fun to read too, but sometimes I also read articles about crime, which is kind of scary. 5. How do you usually find this news? Most of the time, I read these kinds of news online. There are a few websites that I visit frequently like New Scientist or National Geographic. 6. Do you prefer to read newspapers or watch TV to get your news? I haven't watched TV since high school. That's 8 years. So between these two options, I would have to go with reading newspapers. Topic 22, Reading Books 1. What kinds of books did you like to read when you were young? When I was young, I didn't like reading because textbooks at school were very boring. which made me think that all books are boring. However, I did read Japanese manga like Naruto or One Piece. It's a great way to chill out, too. Do you still keep these books? Unfortunately, no. When I got into college and my mom asked me to clean my room and either throw away or donate unused items, I decided to give those comic books to children at a local kindergarten. 3. Have you ever given others books as gifts? Yes, once in a while, even if it's not any special occasion like birthday or something, I still buy books as presents for other people. 4. What's your favorite kind of books? Now I read all kinds of books, novels, fictions, science, all sorts of stuff. Each kind has its own values and gives me different feelings. So I can't think of one particular kind of book right now. Topic 23, Countryside 1. Would you like to live in the countryside in the future? Not in a million years. I love it here, in Hanoi. Busy and pretty disorganized as it is. Hanoi is a really good place to settle down. The countryside is little boring and too quiet for me, too. What do people living in the countryside like to do? I have never lived in the countryside long enough to answer this question. But my grandma told me that people there like to get up early in the morning and gather under the shade of a big tree to smoke and chat before getting to work. 3. What are the benefits of living in rural areas? I guess it has something to do with the atmosphere and lifestyle. Some people prefer the quietness and slow pace of life in rural areas. And the fresh air is also something a lot of people like about these areas. It's much better for human health than in big cities. 4. What's the difference between living in the city and living the countryside? The differences between these places are mainly about work opportunities and the environment. In the city, you have access to all kinds of work, from blue-collar to white-collar jobs, while in the countryside you don't have much choice. However, the environment in the countryside is cleaner, which is much better for your health. Topic 24, Sky 1. Do you like to watch the sky? No, honestly. I know some people do, like my uncle. He said looking at the sky in the autumn made him feel relaxed, and it's a good way to kill time if you are feeling bored and have nothing to do. 2. What is the sky like at night in your hometown? Nothing special, I guess. I don't usually look at the sky, but sometimes I do when I'm thinking about my life. It's dark and there's lots of cloud with a few sparkling stars. 3. Do you like to watch stars? Not really. Staring at stars is a little bit scary, but I like watching videos about outer space and stars. 4. Have you ever taken a course about stars? I'm not that big of a fan. Although I do like to watch fun videos about stars and to read books about astronomy. But spending money and time attending a course about this, it's not such a good idea to me. 5. What's your favorite star? My favorite star. I guess the sun. You know why? Because it's the only star in the entire universe that I know, so, haha. Topic 25, Shopping 1. Are there many shops near your home? Yes. There's one right in front of my house that sells almost everything a human being would need to live comfortably. In my neighborhood, there are at least a dozen like that, so you can guess the competition here is really intense. 2. Do you like shopping? Who doesn't? It's a fantastic way to let off some steam. I work almost every day from morning to evening, so whenever I have some free time, I will go to a shopping mall and have a great time browsing around. 3. Who usually does the grocery shopping in your home? My mom. Sometimes when I'm at home on Sunday, I'll go with her. I'm pretty sure that my dad doesn't go shopping with my mom during weekdays because he has his own hobby, which is fishing. So from Monday to Saturday, my mom will do the grocery shopping alone. 4. How often do you buy something in a shop? Maybe once a week. I love shopping, but my free time doesn't allow me to go to shopping malls to buy things too often. Sometimes, when I'm too busy. Maybe only once every 2 weeks. Topic 26. Food Cooking 1. Is food important to you? That's a no-brainer question. Food is vitally important to everyone because no one can survive for a week without eating. If you want to live happily, you have to eat properly with healthy diets, too. What kinds of food do you particularly like? Fast food, I guess. Although people say it's not good for your health, it still is very convenient and yummy. Especially McDonald's Royal Cheeseburger, you just cannot say no to it, absolutely mouth-watering. 3. Is there any food you don't like? I'd say seafood. I used to be addicted to seafood when I was a child. Maybe I ate too much seafood that I became allergic to it, unfortunately. 4. What kinds of food are most popular in your country? In Vietnam, it's absolutely nice noodle soup with beef, usually known as pho bo, among the locals. Its broth is sweet and nutritious. Every person who comes from a foreign country just have to try pho bo just once when he or she visits Vietnam. 5. Do you like cooking? I do. In fact, I did the cooking every day when I was a college freshman. I enjoyed it so much that I invited my friends to my room and had parties with food that I made once in a while. 6. Who usually does the cooking in your home? When I lived with my parents, it's my mom who's the main cook. All of my family members and other people agreed that her food was simply awesome and that she should become a professional chef. Sometimes, I helped her with the cooking and we had a lot of fun preparing the meals. Topic 27. Happiness 1. What do you think of happiness? That's a tough question. Happiness is a really abstract and complicated concept, and how each person perceives happiness is also different. Some people think happiness is when they are loved by other people, while others think happiness has something to do with money and reputation, too. What do you like to do when you are happy? I sing and do stupid stuff like chicken dancing. I'm a horrible singer, but who cares? I'm happy, then I'll sing. It doesn't matter whether other people think of me as a freak or not. 3. What kinds of things make you happy? Money and stuff. Some people say that it's too materialistic, but come on, admit it, money does make you happy. You can buy a lot of things with money and have a comfortable life. You can make other people happy if you have money too. 4. What kinds of things do people in your country feel happy about? We're all living in the world where materialism prevails, so money always makes people happy. Also, in Vietnam, there's something else that usually accompanies money, and it's power. 5. Is it easy to make you happy? Yes, I'm a simple man. Small things like a book can make me satisfied. Well, if anything, I'd love it if someone gives me a car or something.